Hey everybody, and welcome to Queued Up, where the lobby is open, the mics are hot, and nobody is dodging. With me today, the one and only Patrick, Justin, Nick, and I'm CJ. Welcome. We're talking the Blast Bounty that just happened. We're going to talk some esports news on the Esports World Cup, and these are our segments: the big story, Clutch or Kick, and Pickems. Thanks for joining me today. Pat, how was the tournament this weekend? I know you got a chance to watch it.
It was pretty good, actually. A lot of upsets and a lot of different outcomes happened this one, but some of it maybe could have been predicted from a little bit of previous showings. But I'm actually kind of glad it's over because I'm looking forward to the EWC. Looking forward to some certain teams that haven't played recently. Get to see how they're doing after their recent performances.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the Blast Bounty as well. A lot of close matches, a lot of upsets. We saw Vitality fall. We saw Spirit get a win. We saw the Mongolz have really good rallying comebacks in this. But here was the bracket for everybody, and ultimately Spirit did take this one. Congratulations to them. I think they have really been in the hunt for a win since the Vitality dominance is kind of slowing down a little bit on this side. But the Blast Bounty event also had the monies coming into this one, where it was the lower seed was picking the higher seeds and who they were going to play, and we did see some interesting picks from all of these teams. But Nick, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it was interesting looking at that last graphic there on just the bounties in general. It was the totally new format where you were allowed to wager whatever you wanted to wager. Some teams walked away with a little extra money. Some didn't, as we saw a bunch of teams there that walked away with zero. But I felt like they needed to buy into that a little bit more. All of those forced interactions at the beginning of the matches where they're like, how much do you want to wager? How much do you want to wager? No, it was nobody ever agreed to a specific amount to make it go any higher. So it was always predetermined and set, which felt a little weird. Kind of felt like the EWC key crushing awkward moments where they're all just awkwardly standing on stage. They need to lean into it a little bit more, but it was still overall, it was a great tournament.
It did feel a little forced from the actual interactions between teams as they picked each other, as we saw it on stage. It was just a little weird. Justin, I don't know what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind the interactions on stage. I actually felt like it was just a little bit of bad luck that things didn't work out good, because we were going through the early stage of this tournament, which is where you would expect maybe some of these more big wagers come in, more of the big upsets, but we didn't see any major upsets in the early rounds. And then we got to the later rounds in the semis and the finals, and that's where the upsets started coming in.
Yeah.
But by that point, we were talking about such big teams that I wasn't even concerned about who was wagering what. I just wanted to know, like, Vitality versus Mongolz.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely identify with the idea that, like, the money felt like it was kind of at a certain point, like, whatever. Like, hey, you're paying for $100,000 now. Like, that's kind of how it's unfolded. And there was no big upsets other than maybe you could say Vitality falling.
Yeah.
But let's jump right into our first match. I think this one is probably the most exciting in a lot of ways, but it was the Mongolz against Aurora. And they had this crazy series because they had this awesome comeback, specifically on Dust 2 and Mirage for the first two matches. Dust 2 is the first one. And Senzu just having a crazy game on here, and ultimately 9-10 showing what he can do with the op. But what were your thoughts on this one, Nick?
Yeah, I think this is just 9-10 showing he can be extremely consistent with that op, and no matter how they're performing, obviously they won this match, but however they're performing, 9-10 is always going to get his op kills. I think that's the one consistent with this team, and it shows up whether they win or lose.
Yeah, I think Aurora had this one won just like they had the Mirage one after this at a certain point, but this one was the crazy one where it was 11-1 going into the half, and the Mongolz just came back and kind of battled through this one. Blitz showing off that there was just so many clutch plays and so many different moments on this one. It was wild.
Yeah, the comeback here was insane. We were in a meeting, and CJ, you were just sitting there looking at your laptop, not even paying attention to what was going on. The comeback was crazy, and Blitz, I mean, this guy consistently does some insane stuff that I feel like you don't ever see from any other IGLs. So to pull his team back from a big deficit like that was very impressive.
Yeah, especially on Mirage, too, just on that CT side. I think you can get kind of boxed up, and they found themselves in some weird spots where it'd be like a 2v4 or something like that, and they were able to just battle through. And I think that has shown that this Mongolz team is really, when they play to whoever their competitor is. So if it's a bad team, they kind of play down to them, and if it's a good team, they're normally playing up to them as well. So it's very interesting to watch them kind of have these scenarios and go through these environments. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's very great on the Mongolz because historically in the past, at least for these past couple tournaments and stuff, the Mongolz have been it always seemed down on themselves. Anytime they were getting defeated or they lost a map, it almost seemed like they were kind of checking out in a way, like they couldn't keep their mentals together. So I think this was a very good test to that by them being down by 11 rounds and being able to come back and win the game in the end through that. I think was a big help for them going forward into their next matches, which obviously we know the outcome of. But it was fantastic to see, and I'm happy for them.
I actually think it was like twofold in that regard. One, when they went down, being able to make that comeback, but also just borderline any quarterfinals match for the Mongolz. Like, these guys are trying to break the group stage merchant moniker, and the quarterfinals is usually where they struggle. We saw them make it through it here, boded some good signs for them in the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and something I want to point out as well, it's like looking at the stats as well. Madger had a .55 rating. He is one of the best, and I love watching that team, but he had a .55 and a .5 overall in the entire series. Obviously didn't help out the squad much there, which is tough.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they like I said, Aurora had this series packed up, one ready to move on, and they just kind of fell apart. And you could see it like every round, the team just looked a little bit more concerned, to the point where they just kind of threw it away. Yeah,
this opens the door for a bigger conversation that we've heard over the past week now that this tournament has taken place. The meta is now CT-sided, and this map, too, definitely showed it's CT-sided with both teams winning 11 rounds on CT is just insane. And it was a theme for the rest of the tournament.
It was, yeah. There were so many. CT is definitely overpowered right now. It's wild. Let's jump to our next match. This one was interesting. Vitality and Liquid faced off against each other. And this isn't the Vitality we've normally seen. The game one was on Train, and it just seemed like Vitality never really, I mean, they won this match, but they battled through, and they just never really looked great on it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Vitality's been a strong Train team, but I guess they've really been strong on every map in 2025. But this was a ballsy pick by Liquid, and it almost worked out in their favor, but just wasn't able to squeak it out in the end. They came all the way back. They clawed it to overtime. They were up 13-12, and you're like, man, they're looking really good. And then Rops clutches a nice little 2v1 and ties it up 13-13.
And you see it on there, the CT side. I mean, 9 rounds won by both teams on the CT side, so it's just wild. And I don't think Train is one of the best Vitality picks. It's definitely a map that you don't see them play a ton of. And I think that Liquid definitely took advantage of that in this series.
Train specifically is a map where like a big heavy AWPer plays a big role, right? And that's what Ultimate wants to do. He just wants to have that AWP every single round. And Zywoo, I think he flexes a lot more. We see him on the rifles a lot more. It's not as inherent to his like personal play style.
Yeah, specifically on the T side, the AWP just isn't as strong on that map. So interesting to see. Any thoughts on the series, Pat?
Oh, for sure. This was probably the best series from the whole tournament that I enjoyed the most because it was so neck and neck a lot of the times. And for me, it was probably the best I've seen Liquid play in forever. And whether that's Vitality not playing to their strengths or Liquid just finally stepping up to the plate, it was just fantastic to see. And it shows that that Liquid, if given possible, they can actually stand against some of these top teams. Sure. And like obviously Rops and Zywoo, they had an incredible series throughout this one, and I think that's ultimately what made them overcome Liquid in the end because they were able to, come up with those clutch moments. I mean, that's what they're known for. And unfortunately, Liquid, while having multiple leads at some points, especially in Nuke, where they were right there at match point, had 2 rounds to close it out. And unfortunately, through this whole series, they were just unable to close. And that was their downfall right there. But I'm proud of them, and they did good. And Vitality, they looked weak, but, they just seem to be having some problems on the Vitality side right now.
Yeah, no, this was crazy. This is coming from a Liquid team that I believe just about a month ago didn't even qualify in their European closed qualifier against some top 150 ranked team, and they're taking Vitality the difference. It's the exact same roster. They didn't make a single change. It's like, what changed? I don't know on paper.
Could it be on the Vitality side, not on the Liquid side?
That's what I feel like this series is like, I don't think Liquid has gotten any better. I think that this is Vitality kind of, I don't know if falling apart is the right answer. I couldn't tell you what it is, but they're not as scary as they were, I think, even a month ago. It's just like, I think they're not winning in the clutch moments. I don't think their team play is as on par as it's been, and they're doing well individually. I mean, Rops has had an amazing series here and definitely carried them to the win, but But Ultimate on the other side is like the other guy who definitely carried them through, but there was more team play on Liquid side than there was Vitality, and that's normally not what we see. We normally see a lot of team play in the Vitality side of things. So it's interesting to see. These two are going to face up again in the Esports World Cup, so we will get a chance to watch this series back, I guess. I'm curious who picks which maps, if they try and run it back or if it's something different. So intriguing.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. Vitality's then faced off against Mongolz, and this was, once again, right? Like Vitality did not look great in this series as they kind of move on, and Mongolz took them. Let's see the map one stats. Ultimately this was on Mirage, and I don't know, one-sided affair on the Mongolz side, right?
Yeah, no, I think there's two massive storylines here. It's the downfall of Vitality and the consistency of Mongolz. But I think the biggest thing that shines for me off this paper is every time Mongolz is gonna win a big series, it has to be on the back of Senzu. Kind of like I was referencing earlier. 9-10 is gonna be consistent. He's gonna get those op kills. He may not be the top fragger, but he's going to be middle. You know what you're going to get out of him. Yeah. But Senzu, I believe, is the X factor. If he performs well, they can do this to things in teams like Vitality. And man, did he play well.
Yeah, and Vitality, CT-sided Mirage, they only got 6 rounds on that side. So that's not going to be enough on the Mirage or any of the maps, really. We're going to have to start seeing where you're going to have to take 8 rounds on the CT side or 7 rounds on the CT side in order to win these. And Vitality just couldn't take enough on the CT side, and their offense wasn't enough to be able to overcome it. So, I don't know. Pat, what do you think about this series?
No, I think it's more also like what you were saying, like the team play of Vitality in this series was just not good. The CT definitely has some advantage now with the new changes and the economy changes and stuff, but it's like the team play for Vitality was just not there. It's like most of the time their executes on the terrorist side and what they wanted to do were just never going to plan. It seemed very flustered. And, some of the players have said that afterwards, talking about some red flags and things. It's like it seems, at least from the outside looking in, that there seems to be a little bit of something going on within Vitality, and it's causing them to not be able to play to their strengths. And hopefully for the EWC, that can change and maybe they get back in there. But if they continue in this rut, the Vitality era might just be over.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but it's like, how many things can we look at for Vitality? And I guess I'll ask each of you this. It's like, is it the stake banner across their chest, which we're all going to say Pat thinks is the reason? Is it Apex shaving his head? Is it Amy leaving as the manager? It's like, there is so much going wrong with this team. Is it the fact that they have that target painted on their back? There is so many things. Like, once you're that number one team for so long, people are studying your playbook and your set plays. And obviously, when you're playing the same 4 or 5 maps every single tournament, people are going to understand how you play and not necessarily how much the other team plays, aka the Mongolz, even though they've played 10 times and this is the only time that Mongolz have won. It's just crazy to me. What do you guys?
I think it's that target that you have painted on your back. Nobody can stay at the top of Counter-Strike forever. Vitality is definitely the most watched team, the most studied team, and they do have a roster full of superstars. But I think that's not always how they're winning. They're winning with smart plays and great IGLing from Apex. So when everybody's doing that, when you also have that target that you're painting on yourself, that like excellence, that expectation, that can really weigh on you. And to fall 2 tournaments in a row, I do actually have some worries here that EWC is not the biggest Counter-Strike event in the world, but if Vitality fall again in a 3rd event, is it a bad sign of things to come? There's worries in my brain.
There's actually one more question. If we could look at the overall stats that I want to ask for Justin, since Justin doesn't get to hang out with the queued up folks that much, it's like, looking at Apex for this series, are you saying that he just didn't perform well because he's the IGL, or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Apex actually, I think he was pretty solid in map 2. I think he was actually maybe the top fragger for the team. So it's tough. I really struggle to figure out what the exact impact of an IGL is, just because I'm not as familiar with Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So the minute stuff about strategy get a little bit difficult, but I didn't really feel like it was that. I felt like maybe it was more the pressure from the other, like the superstars, from the ZywOo and the Robs that kind of crumbled.
This map too on the Inferno came down to a fact that ZywOo,
an active
I
god.
whiffed that.
Yeah,
Can we talk about it?
It was
just a random crouch,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like, I don't even know if Blitz didn't think he was up there. He just crouched because he was peeking highway, and so it was one of these moments where I mean, I think if you tie that round, this could easily fall in Vitality's favor, and then we don't know what map 3 looks like. Because Vitality did play the Mongols really close. It's not like, it's weird because they played Liquid close, but then they played the Mongols close, so they also have this kind of like, hey, we're going to play whoever's in front of us in whatever way. But I think there's some of that, like, it's just a fluke, and it might just be kind of a dry spell that they're going through right now. We saw this, and we've seen this with a bunch of different top teams. Optic had it on the Call of Duty side, where there's like this weird spell kind of happened on the good and the bad. And so we'll see. EWC will be a big, I think, sign for us moving forward, though, on if this team is going to continue to fall or if they're going to rise back to where they were.
I'm glad there's some stakes on it, too, because I think if Vitality had continued dominating leading up to EWC, this would feel like a real Mickey Mouse event. But with all these shakeups and question marks out there, I feel like there's actually some good stuff to watch and some good information to be figured out.
Totally. Yeah. Let's go to our next match. I want to look at MOUZ and Spirit. Spirit obviously won the overall event. Spoiler, sorry if you didn't know. But MOUZ and Spirit have traditionally played each other really, really close, and this series was another indicator of that. And so these two teams played on Ancient first, and ultimately, I think Shiro had an amazing performance on this map, and Chopper really shined out. And obviously, Donk is always on the map, and if he's on the map, he's going to be an MVP for the whole thing, and that's what he did for this series and this map. So.
This map, though, was actually, I thought MOUZ did a pretty good job of containing Donk through the beginning bits. Like, I think his in score was actually really good, but if you look at where he ended at the end of regulation, I mean, it wasn't actually, I don't know the exact number, but I just remember seeing him rip off tons of triple kills and insane stuff in overtime. So that's where he really started to shine. I felt like Xerxin kind of dominated him on the entry. There was a lot of times when Xerxin was getting entry frags onto Donk for MOUZ. And if we go back to any of these matchups where MOUZ went on top, if you get that entry onto Donk, it should be a 1 round. But this time, they kind of struggled.
MOUZ really likes to battle in the middle of this map. They are very, very aggressive in mid, and they normally put, for the counter side, Spirit put Donk in red on the defensive side, so the top of the map. And Donk kind of got the better of him a couple times and got some 3Ks. But ultimately, MOUZ is a really good job controlling the middle of this map, and that's why they tend to pick it and they tend to win on it. But we've seen Spirit and them play in this map a couple times now, and it's always close. Can fall either way.
Yeah. And that was probably one of the coolest things of the Blast format in general, was that after the round they got to pick again, and it was the 4 teams left on stage, and the only pick was Spirit, and he looked right at MOUZ and was like, again, let's do it again. We just did it. We just did it in IEM Cologne. We're going to do it again here, and they did, no question about it.
Yeah, let's look at map 2. We saw the Mirage. This one was the Spirit dominance. Pretty much, I mean, Zontix, Zwei, Shiro, all kind of topping the leaderboard in various. I think Zwei is one of those guys on this roster that I think is making the difference for them. I really do. I don't know. I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but there's a Zontix move. Zontix is leaving this team, and we'll see. I don't know. You win an event with Zontix and then you get rid of him. It's kind of this Dexter story, what happened with the Falcons. Where
they won 2 events, right?
Yeah, they won. And so it's like they're kind of hitting their hot streak, but they've decided to make this change. And Zwei might have been enough to make the change for this Team Spirit moving forward. But it's interesting to see that they're making these changes when they're having such dominance over such a good team. So
yeah, that's where it's like it's still rumored, unfortunately, with a lot of these teams, things that fly under the radar until it's actually public. It's like, I would almost want to go back on this. I don't know. There's been some clips that have come out like he's not getting along with the team behind the scenes, and that's really the cause of the reason. It has nothing to do with his play. I think he's one of the best anchors outside of Rops in the game right now. But at the same point in time, if it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah. Thoughts on the series? Anything else?
Let's move on to that grand final.
Let's go to the grand finals then. Mongolz versus Spirit. Oh, man. I wanted this. The Pickems last week, we had done a snake draft, and I think you had MOUZ. Davis had
Vitality and FaZe. Was it FaZe?
No, Liquid.
Oh,
Close.
Liquid.
And then Dylan had Spirit, and I had the Mongolz, and I really wanted the Mongolz to take this one through, but they just weren't able to do it. Just not enough from the Mongolz in this grand final.
Yeah, it just seems like they. I don't know. Again, if we go back to the Austin Major where they got second, it's like in that semifinal is where they play well, and then come Sunday, they're not performing well in the grand final. And looking at this map 1 on Nuke, you're like, it was the Donk show, plain and simple.
It was the Donk show. Yeah, I agreed. He had a great series. Really shined when he needed to shine against this team, and he definitely kind of carried them to the dub. Mirage was close.
It was the only close match of the entire series, unfortunately. It was like the MOUZ played them better than the Mongolz did, but again, it's that triangle effect of everybody else can beat Vitality, but Spirit hasn't even gotten a shot in a while.
It's true. Spirit actually hasn't had a shot for Vitality in a while, but for me, this is like what I was talking about earlier about the Mongolz and their ability to be able to stay mentally strong and be able to play the game always seems to sometimes haunt them, because what I like to say about the Mongolz is it's always best if they win map 1. If they don't win map 1, they're getting 2-0'd or they're getting 3-0'd or anything, because it's like they need that boost to keep going forward. And it's like as soon as Spirit won map number 1, I thought it was just going to be over. And for the most part, it was. I mean, they had the close map too, so it's like they almost was able to bring it in there.
Sure.
And it still stands true here that the Mongol Spirit won 2 back-to-back tournaments, overtook Vitality in the rankings as the number 1 team. So Mongolz is technically going toe-to-toe, even though they got 3-0'd, with the number 1 team in the world. And they beat the number 2 team in the world. So it's like, maybe I was wrong about the Mongolz. They put on a pretty good show, but I think they just kind of have that finals fear in a way at the moment right now, where anytime they're able to finally get there, they just don't show up, and it's unfortunate. And Spirit are tested and true, and they were able to come.
I think Spirit's the exact opposite of that, where Spirit, when they get a round win, when they get the first map win in a grand finals against a team that's not Vitality, like they're just gonna roll. I mean, the pieces get good. Donk gets confidence in the people that he's got behind him. Chopper feels good making his calls. So just the other side of the coin.
I'm excited for the next couple events coming up, too, because we've seen that all 4 of these teams are getting to a spot where it's not just the Vitality show. And so they're going to start to trade blows with each other. Like, I couldn't tell you if you're taking a Spirit over a MOUZ or a MOUZ over a Mongolz or a Spirit over Vitality. Vitality, if they continue to fall, are going to maybe go to that 4th spot, which I think historically the Mongolz have normally held. And so it's kind of like, it's going to be interesting to see the next couple events as they go through this and see if they're one of the teams becomes a more dominant team for this one. But ultimately right now it looks like it's going to be the Spirit show for a little bit if the things continue to go this way.
Maybe.
Again, who's your number 1 then? Who's your number 1 then?
No, I think it's still Vitality. Yes, they fell off at 2 events, but they've fallen off at the hand of MOUZ and Mongolz, 2 top 4 teams that were saying arguably on paper, but until they play Spirit, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I still think it's Vitality and then Spirit. But I don't know if they can keep this up. One, because of the Zontix rumors. If they make that change and their new roster just doesn't click the same, they could fall off just as fast, if not faster. And then I want to give the flowers because I still feel like we haven't talked about him enough. Zwei is actually the glue for this team. Since they brought him on, they won 2 straight events. They're looking great, and you got to give the guy his flowers.
Zwei won a really impactful 1v1 on Mirage as well. It was post-plant. He was playing against Tech9, and it was just, Techno. But ultimately, he won this 1v1, and I think it changed the whole tide of the map on the T side for Team Spirit. So he's definitely made the plays when he needs to make the plays.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, cool. Let's go to Clutch or Kick.
Let's
do it. Justin, you're first on the Clutch or Kick. What do you got for us, buddy?
My Clutch or Kick is going to be that Blitz is the best fragging IGL in the game right now. I don't think he's the best IGL in the game, but I think he puts up better numbers. He gets out there. He does crazy, like I said earlier in the show, crazy stuff that you would not expect to see from an IGL in any scenario. And I think he'll only continue to improve his calling as he gets more matches against the top teams and top stuff. So, yep, I've got Blitz as the best fragging IGL.
Best fragging IGL. Ooh.
Anybody want to go first?
Ooh.
That's a difficult one.
That is a difficult one. It's like,
I don't even know if you guys saw mine ahead of time, too. That might be a full surprise.
I didn't see it.
I'm team no spoilers. I'm team no spoilers.
I feel like if you're going to say Kick, you need to throw out some alternatives.
No, I like this in the fact that I thought about Kerrigan, but like Kerrigan doesn't make the plays.
He said fragging.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of like a fragging IGL, and I don't think of anyone. And Blitz definitely made some plays this past event and has made plays before. So I'm going to say, yeah, I like this. Blitz is the man.
All right, I'll go. It's so close, but I think I'm going to kick it. And it's just because there's 2 that immediately come to mind. Obviously, we just saw the stats, and it was like Chopper performed really well. And on a team with Donk and Shiro, and you have the most kills in a map, that's awfully impressive. And then on the Vitality side, how can you crack on Apex? So I know he just didn't perform well in this tournament, but overall for 2025, that guy frags out.
I will clutch it
Wow.
but for negative reasons.
Whoa.
Okay.
As funny as that sounds.
Sounds like a clutch kick.
For me, it's that, like, he can be that fragging IGL. That's totally fine with me because the Mongol strats are typically just so bad, he's not putting much thought into it. So he just gets to focus on playing the game.
He has.
As to where somebody like Apex, for example, he's set more to just do utility damage and set and do all those things, is where the Mongols play a lot different. Whether that's good or bad, they beat Vitality, so there we go. It's just a different play style for them. They play a different game, and it allows him to be able to frag out more.
I think Apex is a reasonable discussion out there. I actually don't think Chopper is a fair one. I think his stats look good, but we're looking at the stats for a tournament where they go, 7-0? They don't drop a single map in the entire playoff. So obviously your stats are going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
I can tell you who's not. Brolin.
Yeah. He might be a worse IGL than Blitz, too. He's learning. He's learning.
Poor guy.
The Brolin shade. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But I feel like I've seen all the IGLs kind of have a map where they've done well. Like Brolin's had a good map. So is Apex. So is Chopper. But it's like very inconsistent, where Blitz definitely does have more good maps than he has bad.
It'd be interesting. I haven't thought about this, but to look at the stats of how many bad maps they have to judge them. It's not how many times you outfrag your fraggers, it's how many times you drop less than 10 kills in
Yeah, see, if I would've
26
went
round
into this,
game.
I would have went deep in the stats and just pulled out a bunch of things.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Nick, you're next.
Alrighty. This is straight out of the mouth of Donk. Spirit is not the #1 team yet until they beat Vitality. And it's plain and simple. I know Vitality, we were just talking about it a second ago. Vitality is on the downswing, and obviously Spirit's on the uptick. But until those two play each other, Vitality's still the #1 team. They haven't played each other since May. Vitality won 2-0. But Spirit hasn't lost since June when they played MOUZ the last
So
time.
you're saying that Spirit is not #1, Vitality's still #1?
Vitality is still #1. Donk, I agree.
Played so bad.
I'll start. CJ. I'm gonna kick it.
Wow.
And this is tough for me because, as you guys know, I'm a Vitality fan. Apex is a former coworker of mine back in my Envy days, so I have a lot of love for them. But I think stats are rankings are rankings. If you don't win an event and you get bumped out of the top stats, you can't do it. I also think we talked a little bit about Spirit earlier. I think when they bring on Tanir, they're going to be better, and that #1 spot will be even more solidly locked in. So I think they very much deserve it, even without getting that matchup. I think that gives a little bit too much aura to Vitality, where it's like, no, you can't just winning an event and placing higher than us doesn't get you the dub. You also need to beat us directly.
You want to go?
Sound like Dylan over there. He'd be mad right now. You say Vitality aura? No, sir. It's a clutch for me because I just agree with what Donk's saying. I get what Justin's saying here about how it works, and understandably Spirit by nature are technically the #1 team. But I respect the fact that Donk's giving credit to Vitality as they were the #1, and he's saying we haven't beat them yet, and to prove that we are better than the rest, we need to beat them. It's like a player-to-player competitive thing, team-to-team. It's not to do with rankings or stats or anything. It's like, we haven't beat you yet since you've been #1. Once we take you down, we are #1.
I like it. Pat sold it better than I did.
Man,
Double clutch for Pat.
I'm gonna kick this mostly because of the Liquid series.
Just because you hate Donk. Just say it.
No,
He did say it last
I do also hate Dunk. That is a true statement. It's interesting. So we put any team on a pedestal in the fact that it's really, really hard to be as consistent as Vitality has been, right? And so they've consistently been good. Last 6 months, you'd be like, oh, it was the Vitality era. They won so many events, so many series. It was pretty amazing. But like I said, they've had 2 bad events. And so is that enough for them to be kind of knocked off their #1 spot? Maybe. Yeah. I think that is the answer that I'm kind of landing on. But I do understand that it's really hard to maintain a #1 spot for that long. So I give them credit for being able to do that. But they are kind of in this weird spot where if they have a bad performance at EWC, they definitely are going to drop to almost 3 or 4 for me. which is crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, I just don't.
Bro just likes throwing shade.
That's a little wild.
Yeah, that's a little wild.
Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go next. Clutch or kick from your boy CJ.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, this is directed at somebody on the desk. Oh, and I'm gonna agree with Patrick Hollifield in some ways. But I think that we found the explanation. Why is Vitality falling? It's because they took the stake partnership. They got some money in their pocket. They made a deal with the devil. And now they are falling because they took the money they shouldn't have in gambling. Gambling is bad for esports. It's very sad.
My bro's singing a different tune over here. All right, I'm just going to get mine out of the way. I'll clutch it just because it's funny and fun. I actually was going, Nick brought up about like Amy leaving, and actually that was going to be, I thought we were doing the feed, and that was going to be my feed thing, was about how ever since Amy has left, the team has gone downhill. Also the same with the stake and everything. So I think it's just funny. Obviously, I think the stake sponsor on the front is one of the ugliest jerseys. I think most of the world agrees it's egregious, and that's gambling for you. I bet they got a huge paycheck for that.
Cool. Go ahead.
As funny as it is, there's so many other reasons. And I think Justin even said it best. I think it's because the target on their back is the reason that they're not performing so well lately.
I agree.
Oh,
it's not the logo on the front. It's the target on the back.
Hey, that was good.
There you go. I thought that's what you were leaning into.
Oh, no. Close.
No, but it's hard for me to kick this because I generally do agree with the whole sentiment that gambling is very bad for esports. I don't think it should be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be necessary. It shouldn't be included. All of these things we've talked about this on previous episodes, but yeah. So that's why it's weird for me to kick it because it agrees with my like emotional, my moral compass, but
you don't think
it's not the reason. I got to be too logical.
Could be. I don't know. I think it may play.
It plays a part.
It may play into the part where I do think there is a little complacency in the Vitality roster because they have done so well that it's like, oh, I've got the bag now, so I'm just gonna kind of hang out. And so I think there's a level to that where it's like it is about money and how it impacts the player.
They're not getting the money from a Vitality sponsor.
I don't know. I haven't seen the deal. Have you?
No. I've seen deals though.
Maybe they got $1 million at stake each and they can just go blow it.
That actually could be.
And now they don't want to play because they're gambling. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
Wait a minute.
I'm not saying I haven't seen the contract. I don't know what they do in the free time. I'm just saying something changed, and it started around that time that stake partnership was announced. That ugly Gotti jersey is terrible too.
No, it's not pretty. Neither is that bald head.
By the way, I just want to plug Power Rankings really quickly. We did an awesome episode yesterday on Power Rankings going into EWC. So if you want to see our rankings for the teams going into EWC and some of the thoughts on where we think they should line up for the top 5, feel free to do that. This is how the scores are calculated on Power Rankings. So make sure that you go and check that latest episode out. Thanks. Going into our last one, Pat, what you got for us, bud?
So mine is, y'all been talking a lot about that rumored move, and my clutcher kick has something to do with that. And I have this tweet here. It's a long thread. We're not going to go into all of it. It's a lot of nerdy stuff, a lot of stats from @SmartBackwards. You can go there if you want to check it out. But basically, he goes over why TM1R would be a better, he would complete Spirit, so to say. He'd be a better teammate. And it's not necessarily because of his firepower or because he can get more kills or anything like that. It's because of the way that he plays the game and his positions that he holds. Specifically, Smart Backwards goes into Nuke specifically and how he would be able to hold basically ramp on CT side a lot better than Zontix does. And he has better stats, proven that throughout his history. Compared, and that also it goes into way more detail, which we're not going to get into. But basically, he would fit the team a lot better than Zontix, not necessarily in firepower, but in the way that he plays the game and the way he holds his positions on CT sides that would fully complete Spirit and make them truly this #1 team.
Mm-hmm. I'll go first. I'll go first. It's a clutch. I liked the Tanier move before they started winning the events, and I'm going to stick with it now. I don't think you should change it. I think Zontix is solid. Yeah, it is Tanier. I got that from Andy. Shout out to Andy. But yeah, I think you got to stick with your guns, make the right moves. Don't become complacent because you got some wins. It will lead to the most verdant success in the long term. They're not, yeah.
They're winning with Zwei. I think why messing with stuff that's working?
Zontics.
Sorry, Zontics.
They're winning with
too
both
many
of them,
Zs.
technically.
No, I'm saying that the Zwei move for Magic's was enough for them to kind of get them in a good spot. I don't think you need to make this move in order to improve the team. Zontics is very good. Like,
Yes.
I don't think that he's a bad player on this roster.
It's the out of game stuff for him.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all right. We need to go wide just for a second here and hold up. Everybody, hold up their signs. Yeah, red, green. This is pretty obvious.
CJ's wearing brown.
There's a hint of red. Anyhow, no, there's so much that goes into it. It's just with the Kaiosuke move on the Falcons. It was the fear of the unknown. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how that player is going to fit. You could look at their stats from before and on the teams that they've been on and the dominance they had, but you don't know how it's going to fit until it already happens. And they've won the past 2 tournaments with Zontics. I know it's the added game stuff. It's not the in-game stuff.
Maybe. I mean, with Kaiosuke, he's never even played in a Tier 1 event, so that was way more of an unknown, as to where this is not the case. He's been playing in the competitive scene, or in the top tier, Tier 1, whatever you want to call it. So it's like, to this, it's like you can just, the way that he plays the game, and I'm sure the Spirit managers and everybody, and the Chopper, all them have his hand in this and see that, like, somebody like that would fit the team better. If it's the case, obviously this ain't confirmed by no means, but it's like the game is not about just firepower. It's not about how many kills you drop. It's about what makes you work as a 5v5 squad, hold sites, take sites, retakes, use utilities, all that. That's why Magic was so bad, because of the way he played the game and didn't fit with the team well, and that's why Zwei is doing so much better, and they're doing better. And this, it could make a super team just like Vitality. They already got the superstar. Now they just need the super supports. Boom.
They're winning. They're winning right now.
They've won twice. That doesn't.
They're winning. They've never beat Vitality, and they're winning.
You just said they're the #1 team.
Yes, because they need to make the change. You need to not become complacent with that small little win that you have, because the bracket favorite at Vitality crapped the bed against other people. You need to continue pushing to make a team that can truly compete with them.
All right.
I mean, we're going to go to our next segment, and we're going to talk about this. EWC is coming up. It starts on Wednesday. We're going to get some matches that are coming through. I want to look at the format and the prize pool really quickly. These are all best of 3s to the grand final.
Single elimination.
Single elimination. We're not playing.
No mistakes.
These
I
are
actually
the
like
seeds.
it.
These are the seeds right now. I like it too. I think this is going to be very competitive. I think we're going to see some upsets in here within this. I don't know who it'll be. Maybe Tyloo and Australis, or maybe a G2 takes down Team Falcons. Oh, that would hurt my
Maybe a
heart.
heroic over a Spirit.
Oh my God, no.
Tanir just destroys Zontics.
This is a big deal for VP. I think VP and Falcons, because they're really fighting for multi-million dollars in the Champions Club. So the Falcons need to have a good event, and so does VP. And we'll see. VP has been on the
VP need
upward.
to win, I think, right?
It's
I don't know if they have one yet or
Yeah,
not.
I don't think VP has won an individual
If you,
tournament.
and if you don't win,
then you're not
can't-
eligible, even if you have enough points.
and that would be a stretch,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I think we can.
Oh,
we've
yeah,
not
that-
talked
that-
about VP until this moment. But I do want to look at. We have a couple. We have some pick'ems here that we're gonna do. The first one, Game 1, Team Liquid versus Team Vitality.
Why are we looking at this one, CJ? We're all obviously picking Vitality. Are we? I'm picking Oh.
Yeah, there's been a theme to this show, hasn't there?
There has been.
I just want to be different.
I mean, whoa. Okay, I am different, just to be clear. Okay, they did not play them well last week, and I don't know. I just have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to show up and they're going to flop in this tournament, and I think that's why I'm pulling them down on my rankings. Like I said, I think they're still a world powerhouse. I think they can turn around. They could smoke Team Liquid in this next one, but they have been on a downward trend, and I think I'm going to take a flyer because of that. So that would be my explanation.
Buddy, they won. You can talk all you want, but they won.
Both game overtimes. Two
Both
overtimes.
times Liquid had a chance to win and lost.
I understand that Team Liquid
They're
is not
garbage.
good.
They're garbage, buddy.
They are garbage.
Vitality.
Pat, I'm not trying to.
Vitality's not. The fact that you picked them is just insane over Vitality. That's okay. It's bias. It's fine. It's understandable.
I agree with Pat, and I think the difference is that Vitality's going to have all this time to think about Liquid, to think about how they almost lost to them, to come up with plans, to pick the right maps, not ones that Ultimate can just use his long op-angle sights and stuff. And I don't think they're going to lose. I think Vitality could stumble later on in this tournament and still end up in that bad position, but I don't think it's coming round 1.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah,
I know you agree.
yeah.
Let's go to our second match. Astralis versus Tyloo. Let's see what it is. What do we got?
Wow.
Justin? Oh, in the hot seat.
Ooh.
Right?
Bro, it's supposed to be different.
That's right.
I just want to be different.
Well, Astralis has looked better. I don't know. It's interesting.
Astralis, I think, has looked really rough. I mean,
Yeah.
like, Hooksy put up an absurdly bad game the last time we saw them. And
Yeah.
Tyloo, I mean, I thought they looked really good. I think it was Fissure Playground we saw them last.
Yeah.
And they put up some good performances. So I've kind of learned not to
That's a
underestimate
rematch
this
from the
team.
finals.
This will actually,
yeah.
This will be the third time. So, Astralis beat Tyloo early on in Fissure Playground. Then they remet in the grand finals, and then obviously
Astralis won again, right?
No, Tyloo
Tyloo won that.
Tyloo
Yes,
won
yes,
the
yes,
grand
yes.
final. So then
I
this
should
will
know
be
that.
this will be number 3 going into it. So it should be it's the rubber match. But I've got to lean Astralis' way. They've just been looking a little bit better, even though Hooksy has been playing terrible.
Yeah, this is definitely a good pick on the fact that I think it's closer than the Vitality's Liquid one. Just a little bit. So it should be a good series. But it is intriguing, I hope. You know?
I didn't think that I was going to be the only Tyloo on the desk. Maybe if I had Davis here, I would have had another Tyloo.
And the only other concern, it's like obviously the tournament starts tomorrow, so we would have heard about it by now. But with Tyloo having visa issues in the past,
Yeah.
making sure that G can even get over there because we all love G. So hopefully they can perform well. I'm pulling for them with my heart, but my head says Astralis all day.
All right, next one we're going to look at 3D Max versus Na'Vi. We'll see who is picking what
3D Max
as
and
it
Na'Vi.
comes to this one. I picked Na'Vi.
I did too.
I did as well.
I went 3D Max.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So everybody's just having their one-off difference? So
Yeah, it
Apparently so.
appears to be the theme.
Okay, well, 3D Max powerhouse team on the fact that they can. I say powerhouse team. That's probably not the right word.
No, I
No,
wouldn't say
far from
Maka,
it, far from it.
Maka, Lucky, and Exercise.
Power
are-
tent.
they're powerful adjacent.
I think they're explosive. I think they've had explosive moments.
Yeah, I think this
They could
is.
blow up, yeah.
And again, this one, if we were talking about, if I was on stake, I would not be putting money on this. However, I think this is just from that last Na'Vi match that they played. I think they're on the edge of disaster in an entire team blow up. They went from pure domination in years past to what they are now, a shell of themselves. And I think this loss to 3D Max will push them over to the edge and blow up the whole team.
Crazy. I think they're on the upward trend, actually.
Really?
That was my
Yeah.
like thought about Na'Vi too, was that I thought they did pretty solid in that last event.
They did. They had like a 5th or 4th place finish, and they kind of shown that they can show up and do some stuff. And I think 3D Max is one of those teams where I do believe in that they've always been kind of this top 12 kind of area where they can show up against big teams, and so they have a shot against it. But I think that Na'Vi has actually looked better than they historically have, and so that's why I took them for this.
Oh, 100%. It's not even close.
Damn, Pat's just.
Yo, you good?
There's no doubt in Pat's mind about
Dude, if 3D Max beat Na'Vi, that's a huge upset.
Dude, I think somebody should go take a bet, and you should pick Liquid and 3D Max.
the four-way. Oh,
and see what the odds are. Because I bet
The upset parlay.
$5 to win
parlay,
$50,000.
take the 4 dumbest picks, all 4 of us, and put all your life savings on it.
Good idea. Okay.
Disclaimer: the show is not responsible for any losses.
All right, our next one's gonna be Aurora versus FaZe.
This one we got to be split on. Okay, that makes a lot more
There we
sense.
go.
This was supposed to be
My
my
God,
one-off difference,
let's
right? To complete the
go.
trend.
Nah, man, I like Aurora in this one. FaZe has been looking doo-doo.
Aurora's been looking doo-doo.
Yeah, they really don't have.
They called out Mongolz and then just that
It's the doo-doo off here, but this one is definitely more biased from me because I've been upset with FaZe for a while, and so I'm just preying on their downfall. until they make some changes and get good. Because, like, I'm sorry, I think it's time for Kerrigan to go.
Kerrigan.
Look, I've been a Kerrigan fan for a long time. You know, back in the day,
Clearly
he was
not.
dominant. Yeah, dude, it's what it is. It's like a beloved football fan who's been following the same team for a long time. It's like this man, 8 years ago, dominating everything. Good. FaZe is a top-tier team. They're always competing, at least finishing in the top 3 to 4, always. To what they are now, they are a shell of themselves, and they pulled that whole simple stunt thing, and it got them some nice little press, and that just ticked me off
You
some
just
more.
hate Simple. That's
no,
what it is.
No, Simple's the
Yeah.
same way. It's like, and I respect Simple now. We're getting off topic. Dylan's not here. We're not supposed to talk about him. But FaZe have been doing bad, and it's only going to get worse. And Aurora, I think, hey, all they got to do, if Major just plays a little bit better, they beat FaZe, no problem.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a battle of the trash can here. I think that the real deciding factor for me, aside from the vouch from old Davey Wavy, Tadpole, he was also in the FaZe camp. It's just the break. You know, we just saw Aurora play in this one. I feel like both these teams have kind of had some issues. They're old, they're sickly. And so, I mean,
This is the retirement.
I mean, they are. And so I think FaZe having a little bit of time off and a little bit of, recuperating time, I think is going to make the difference.
I don't have too much on this. I think I could see this going either way. These are probably two of my favorite teams outside of Spirit to watch. Obviously, I think FaZe has a lot of firepower, and they obviously have all the veteran talent to do it. And Aurora, that old Eternal Fire roster, I love everything about the All Turkey squad. So I think FaZe is going to edge this out just because of their experience.
Yeah, I think FaZe has got to make a change at this point. They clearly can't do it.
But that's the other thing. It's like there's quite a few teams that we've already listed that have rumored roster swaps, and the Elige for Twist looming over people's heads obviously isn't going to do well either.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and Elige, I think, is one of the better players on that team.
No question about it.
And so, and it's also like we're talking about Aurora versus FaZe. FaZe is not going to beat one of our top 4. Not going to beat Vitality. Not going to beat Mongolz.
They couldn't beat Mongolz. They couldn't beat Mongolz.
They
in
beat
Austin with
Mongolz
Simple.
twice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was simple.
Yeah,
That's true.
with the entire crowd on their back.
Yeah, I agree. FaZe has issues. They gotta figure it out. Can you go back to the bracket really quickly? I want to ask a question for the desk. I want you to pick your grand finals match based off of the bracket.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna need to see the bracket.
Yeah, we're
'Cause I
gonna
don't
need
know
to see
how
the
it-
bracket really
Vitality,
quickly.
Spirit, let's go, baby.
Okay, you have Vitality and Spirit on the. Okay, that's Pat.
They're going to get the rematch.
Well, Justin-
or not the rematch.
I think the easy. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing for the top side, I'm probably ending up with a Vitality Mongol semifinals again, and I think Vitality wins that. And then down to the bottom side,
It was 2-0 last week.
yeah, but that was a fluke.
My man!
That was a fluke. And on the bottom side, I think I've got Falcons.
Yeah.
I think I've got Falcons. I think I've got them beating MOUZ in a quarterfinal.
Yep.
And then, yes, I don't know, Spirit might lose to somebody else down there, and they don't even
Wow.
need to
Nick, who you got?
I want to see Vitality Spirit so Spirit can finally take that #1 spot. I think some storylines also say that Falcons can make it through to the finals just because hometown cheese. I don't know, man. It's hard to, like I said, it's hard to root against any of our top, or not root against, but think any of our top 4 teams aren't going to make it.
So
It was easy for me.
That's pretty easy.
I'm gonna take Spirit Mongolz in the finals, and then I think
boring.
the third place
Snooze.
match is gonna be Falcons Vitality, and I think that one will be okay.
That'll be the real bet.
That would
Dude,
be
the
cool.
Falcons aren't getting past MOUZ.
No, yeah, they are.
Ooh.
They've had
If MOUZ hadn't just lost.
Side bet.
they've got home field advantage. They've got a lot of opportunity in front of them with their new player and their roster. They just have to. The last 2 weeks have to be really impactful for what they've been prepping for. And so
They've
on.
been in Riyadh for a while because they haven't been playing in any tournaments.
Sorry.
Well, they got knocked out in top
Well
12.
rested.
Yeah,
Well
rested.
paid.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, man. Whatever you say. Nico's going to miss a Diggle shot once more. It's just the same.
Have a
old,
meltdown.
same
Yep.
old. Me hitting the desk, frustrated. You want to talk about a frustrated team? Falcons get so frustrated when they start to lose. And then you just cook their hind end.
Just to be
from
clear,
then
I
on
put
out.
Spirit
It is-
over Falcons in that semifinals match. So I think Spirit's going to make it to the finals.
I understand, but you're wanting that Falcons vitality in there, and you're stretching for that.
For the
You don't
third
even
place.
think.
That's
Yeah,
the
you
third
think
place.
you think they'll lose in the semis.
Yeah,
Or maybe even
they're
the
losing,
G2.
They're losing. I don't think G2's okay, but if they lose to G2, that'd be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
That would hurt my heart.
It would be hard, but
Nico No Major. This is a pretty big tournament and a lot of pressure on his shoulder. He always shows up in the wins that don't matter. Obviously, the stat from most recently, Dunk just won his 10th MVP. Nico's only got 9. That probably stung him a little bit. He's going to be hurt in this
That's why
series.
it's a good semifinals match too. Falcons.
he's old and washed. He said he wants to be an IGL now.
Falcons.
He's
Yeah,
already
that's
clocked
crazy.
out.
Sorry, yeah, Falcons. Yeah.
He wants to be an IGL. He wants to be on the bottom of the
Out.
leaderboard.
He says one day he could be an IGL. not even
Dude,
wants
that's
to be.
him basically saying,
I'm done.
I'm not winning, dude. Yeah, get me out. They need a better, whatever role he plays, they need a better one.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it, guys. Enjoy EWC as you're watching it through, and we'll be back next week with another episode to cover the recap from Esports World Cup and going into the next event. So thanks for joining us, and have a great day. Bye-bye.